Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elcon, and welcome to Pre-Market Info.
And we have a lot of pre-market info here for you today. Market up about $8, but earnings all over the place from a lot of your big guns. Joel, what's happening?
14, 15, 45, 75 high in the S&Ps. That's right up against Wednesday's close. That's going to be good resistance this morning. Gapped up from the 1534 low, 35 and a quarter pre-market low. We'll keep an eye on that. Got a swing number at 39.50. We break below 1539.50, Dennis, and we're going to test that 1530.75 low.
And what about Google here? What a move after hours it initially had. They beat 1158 versus 1069. A huge pop in Google. What's that after hours high there, Joel?
796.75.
And look at it, got two highs here. This is where you're looking at these old highs. This works. 797 was the high on the 15th, and 796 was the high on the 16th. Basically a double top. Where does it get to after hours? Right to that double top area. And then it started to peel back. Go back to the pre-market chart, Joel, because it got the initial spike on the good earnings, and then they started sitting analyzing a little farther. I don't know if they loved it as much as they initially loved it. News algo knows news algo. It pulled back all the way down. Actually was trading down below 765, but now slow steady climb, trying to get back up. It's up about $10 here this morning at 777.
761.10 after the pump, then the dump. 761.10. It can do the numbers on this, but just this whole 775 to 780 area here, I think you're just going to chop around in there. I'll put up the levels on the site, but I'd be using those levels right now. Just it's nestling in there. It's been there since midnight. Keep an eye on that. Resistance 780, mild, and let me say mild support at 775.
IBM earnings as well. Initial little pop off the earnings, but they did miss. $3 versus 305, so I have no idea why after hours it actually, well, I guess it didn't get any pop there, but basically tanked. Down all the way to 195 and change, so huge dump off for IBM. Down 13 points at the after hours low. Has lifted a bit. It's down about $9 right now, trading at 198.
I got a 196.62 low.
196.62, that was the low? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I have. And then since it hit that 96.62 level, the highest level we've traded is 98.68. So keep an eye on those two levels. I mean, Dennis, what can make a stock move like this? I mean, was it that big of a miss that, to have this kind of reaction?
I think it's just the big climb up from that whole 196, 197 area up over 215 over the course of the last little while. And then, what goes up quickly can go down quickly. It ran very quickly from that whole 197, 198, basically in 3 weeks up to 215. So, like we say, when it goes up quickly, it can go down quickly through that same area. It's exactly what it did after hours. Took out all those levels there, and now we're trading back down to the low we had on the 25th at 197.51. So I guess that's the first bogey, but if it trades below there, then you enter a gap area, and Joel's pointing that gap out right now.
Yep, you had a gap, and actually the gap up was off earnings last time. Stellar earnings gapped up. In order to fulfill that gap, 196.08. So get your bids out there at 196.09, 196.10 to come down and fulfill that, and then under that you have 194. But you gotta imagine it's got to be some shorts out there just licking their chops to cover anything under 198. Also, you get these kind of moves in the after hours and the pre-market. Sometimes they never come near those lows. So we'll see if that's the case in IBM today.
And it was a huge move for Microsoft on the earnings. I cannot believe the craziness off the Microsoft earnings. 72 cents, so bring up the pre-market chart, 72 cents versus 68, so a beat for Microsoft. Look at that one little bar there where this thing ticked down off the earnings. Somebody found something they didn't like. It traded down to 75 I have for a low.
27.85.
27.85, yeah, I can't read my writing. 27.85 was the low after hours. That is insane. Off an earnings beat, and then, within seconds, really, the stock pops back up. Now it's up 76 cents up at 29.55. So you basically have a $2 after hours slash pre-market range for Microsoft, a stock that typically moves 30 or 40 cents in a day. That is an insane range. I don't think you're going to see that kind of volatility here in the regular session. I don't even think you're going to see this thing go negative here again. Somebody just got a gift that was sitting out there bidding in the low 28s and the high 27s.
Right. The pop took you up to 29.65, so that's the pre-market high. That should be a good level. Kevin must have been licking his chops there when it dipped under 28, since we have that major bet that it was going to be at 27 in 3 weeks. It dipped under there, and then they woke up and smelled the coffee. Got to look at the daily chart here. I mean, this has just been some incredible volatility for Microsoft. Had the run up over $30.
But we've had 6 days of consolidation between 28.50 and 29.
Yep.
So
and
for it to
28.50.
yeah,
Yep.
so for it to blow out its range on the bottom end and blow it out on the top end, crazy, crazy, crazy. But remember what we were saying last time it was up here in this 29 handle. There's not a lot of reference points in there, so don't be shocked if this thing hits the gas pedal. It can fly through that 29 handle very quickly, just like it did before. Obviously, the big bogey up there, if they really got nuts with it, it would be up 30, 32, that high that it made on the 10th. I don't think we're going to see there today, but it would not surprise me if this thing tried to make a run for that $30 handle.
I mean, you got to figure everyone that got caught in this, and then everyone that was buying on the cheap on this. I mean, they might be looking at this as a gift. I mean, you're filling a gap with a gap. That's always such a good technical formation. 29.52 fills the gap from this low, so we're going to trade there. But look for some strong follow through the 29.65 high. If you don't get that, I'd say within the first couple minutes of trading, you might get a little selling pressure here, but it's holding up here. Is it well bid up there, or is it just
yeah, it's pretty well bid. It's traded 277,000 shares up here, so that's pretty heavy volume. I think it's going to open up in the mid 29s. It looks like, and you got to keep something else in mind too. We do have option expiration today, so sometimes these stocks get a good push off the bat too. Now, we're already up 8 points in the S&P, so it looks like they're going to get that push off the bat. But these days have typically in the last year been skewed to open up a little bit higher than maybe they're trading sometimes in the pre-market. So it wouldn't be shocking if there's some big buyers that come in right off the hop in Microsoft. Could be one of those scenarios if it opens up higher than this, it could be an opportunity to try a little short, but obviously there's a lot of air in the 29, so you got to be careful
if you took a flyer on the 29 calls ahead of earnings, I mean, come on. I mean, this is a gift. Wouldn't you be like puking these and getting out? I mean, with this kind of move, I mean, that's what I would look at. Anybody took a shot on that, here you are, 55 cents in the money, may see some profit taking.
Chipotle, CMG, also reported earnings, and they were real good. 245 versus 214, so a 31-cent beat for Chipotle. Stock trading up $14 right now at 344.02. Wow, that is just crazy news, Algo. What is that high you're pointing out there, Joel?
363.62.
Somebody got a little bit over excited there, probably. Your fancy news algo.
That's a lot of burritos.
Dude, that's a lot of burritos. Extra sauce on the taco there. That's crazy. Obviously, it's pulled back since then. It's finding some range. It's finding and consolidating here between 340 and 345, but. Joel, that's just that's a crazy move.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost an impossible. Even I can't, give you some good numbers on this. I'll just give you that high, But the low on the pullback was 338.04. Here you are trading, really since 4 o'clock this morning, 340 to 345. I'd use those parameters, and wouldn't it be fitting? Breaks above 345 and then continue the rally. You break below 340, and keep an eye on that after hours low at 338.04.
If you go out to the dailies, though, here, there's two numbers here, and I'm looking at two. A double top from the 10th at 350 right on the money, and then on the 15th we got up to 349.88. Huge level there. That's a double top. That's going to give you some probably pretty decent resistance if the stock rallies another $5 or $6. I gotta think that might try to put a lid on it there. You think so, or do you think it could break through there?
I'm always fading these kind of moves, and I always end up with egg on my face. So I'll go with you on these.
Look at
that 350 area. I mean, it's a nice gift here from just from the recent rally in April, the stock started out under 320, hit 350. So I'm looking for that. I'll go with you on that one. I won't make a bet.
General Electric, $22, trading below that right now on 3.5
Woo!
million shares. They beat 39 cents versus 35. Some concerns with their margins, though, and that is what is knocking the stock down. So you can see the initial pop it got, and then they start analyzing, like, oh, we don't like these margins that much.
20.
And kaboom! They've knocked the stock under 22. I'm kicking myself right now because I was looking at buying the 22 puts. I could buy them for 6 cents yesterday, and I was like, GE, though, to move a 60, 70 cent move is a big move, and I don't think it's probably going to get that low. Well, right now I would be right at the money. If you get some follow through, obviously, they would have been probably a profitable trade. So
On a weekly? Were you looking at the weekly?
well, it's just that they on the weekly. It's just the regular option expiration on the 19th. They don't
that's
have
right.
the weeklies.
Well, you know what? You wouldn't make crap because
Probably
it's
not.
only 4 cents in the money. It'd probably open up a penny your way. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard. I mean, the 22.50s, and now you would have been talking. But I guess people aren't buying light bulbs anymore. We got to go back quite a bit here. Actually, I was just redoing my levels in General Electric, and I do believe we're getting into this area here. You did have a low at 21.95 on January 24th. Currently trading
Right there.
at that level. Below that, I'm looking at 21.75. That was a January 23rd low. But you just have to keep an eye on the pre-market low.
Yeah. And if we do start taking out that 21.75, it is air below there, but you got to think a move like 80, 90 cents for G is usually pretty big, so I don't think we're going to see that low today. I think this thing could hang out probably and try to hold that 21.75 low. But we did have the run up from 21 to 21.75, so a lot of air below 21.75.
Oh, it's not traded below 21.75.
I don't think so either, but we've got to give our traders those, because funny stuff happens in this market. It turns around on a dime. It just moves very, very quickly here day to day in the last few days anyway. So you never know on an earnings play. We've got to set up scenario analysis for you, and that's what we try to do here on pre-market. We try to set up all the scenarios so that if something happens, if it is to trade below 21.75, you need to know there's not that much below there. That thing could be at 21.35 or so in a hurry. So 40, 50 cents there below there.
Yeah. Someone anticipated some weak earnings in this. Look at the activity
Yeah.
over the last, last 6 sessions.
About a buck down, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's good anticipation there.
Well, the overall market's been selling off there too, and GE's correlation to the overall market something like 98%. So I think it's more probably a market move, other than other people just anticipating bad GE news here. You're moving me on. Mickey D's. Mickey D's reported earnings $1.26 versus $1.27. That's a miss. Revenue beat by a little bit, $6.61 billion versus $6.59 billion. But the bottom line miss is knocking the stock down here this morning. Closed at 101.91. It is trading at $100.40. It did tick under $100 on the initial report. Back up over the psychological 100 level right now, though.
Right, pre-market low 99.50, so we'll keep an eye on that, trading above that level. Also looking at the daily, you had the low yesterday, it spiked down to 110, so I use that as support. Under the 110, besides the pre-market low, you had a low at 99.53 on April 4th, but I don't remember where it was, but a week or two ago I was just in a scramble, I needed to grab something, and the only thing was around was Mickey D's. I said, I haven't had a Mickey D's burger in a while and fries, and I got it, and you know what? It was terrible.
Really?
It was absolutely, yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it was ever good, but
it's fast food. It's not like some gourmet burger, but
I don't know what it was, but it was just like, I don't know. I wish I would have bought puts on it.
And I've been impressed with McDonald's. They turned them all into these McCafes. Actually, me and my buddy went there just to have. Well, I didn't have coffee, but I went and had a burger too, and we sat there for half an hour, and they actually had a TV there. They got a fireplace in some of these things. They've turned them like almost into like a Starbucks type of thing, like a hangout now. So I've been somewhat impressed with this whole conversion of the McCafes. At first, I was like, what are they doing with this whole conversion? Moving all these, and putting all this money in these stores. But you know what? You get people going there for coffee now, hanging out, so they're eating a little bit of Starbucks lunch there now too. So the burgers maybe not that great, but they haven't changed. They've always tasted like that. The kids love it. They're all playing in the playland and stuff. I remember being a little kid, and I'd love to go to Mickey D's. So I think they're still, I think it's still, they're still hitting their target market. And I think they're starting to hit a few of the older people that like to go out for coffee. So props to Mickey D's. They've done something right. It's been up for quite some time. Honeywell, honey, trading up 72.71 is where it's trading right now. Stock closed at 71.47. They report a $1.21 versus a $1.14. So a good lift in the pre-market for Honeywell.
72.86, that's a high. That's where we're trading. Got a little volume associated with it. Take a look at the daily chart here. You do have a high over the $73 level at 73.23. Let's keep an eye on that. I expect that to provide some resistance since we just traded at 71 yesterday. Above that, you could migrate towards the 74 level. You had a high April 15th. 73.92.
I'm looking at the buck. I'm seeing size up at 75 and not that much in between. And the reason I tell you this stuff is because bring up Pepsi from yesterday. You would never think that Pepsi could fly.
Sure you want me to?
Oh, I got killed in it. I did not think that the thing could go that high. Obviously, just the huge spike, ridiculous spike, opened up over that resistance area. We were talking about, I thought it might stall at 80.50. It opened up right there, and before I blinked my eye, this thing was at 81.50. And then it was at 82.50, and then it was at 83.50. And this is what happens. There's no liquidity on the open. There's no liquidity in these earnings stocks, and they can get these ridiculous moves. And that's really what it was. It was an absolutely ridiculous move for a stock that basically moves 50, 70 cents a day to pop $4 on that earnings report. Was absolutely ridiculous. It pulled back. I wish I would have held longer. I actually, I got killed on the short. I held it. I hate holding stocks. $2.50 against me the thing went. It pulled back. I ended up losing $1.50 on it, which is just a terrible, terrible trade for me. But it went so fast, man. That's one of my worst trades in probably 2 years to lose that much that quickly. So it serves me right. I knew it had the potential because Coke had the ridiculous rally. I knew it had the potential that Pepsi could do the same, but I tried to fade it anyways. Wrong move. When you're fading these stocks with earnings, you can get killed. I learned the lesson the hard way. So you just got to keep that in mind when you're trading with Honeywell here too. Don't expect a lot of liquidity off the hop. We're on option expiration. Go back to the Honeywell chart. We're on option expiration here, and it can get those lifts up, and I see a lot of air in the book. So the one number that I would look at, if for whatever reason Honeywell really hits the gas pedal after it opens, 74.86 was the high on the 11th, and I see size at 75, so major resistance up there, and I don't think you're going to see that much resistance before that, but I don't know if it's going to run that high. We're just setting up scenarios for you. If you think you're going to short this thing at 73.50, just be careful, because the thing could be at 74.50 in a blink of an eye. That was a lot of talking.
That's okay. That's all right. You're bringing up the Pepsi. I would just notice this in Coke yesterday. I mean, we always like to talk about double tops and triple tops and stuff. And when that Pepsi was running, I was watching Coke, and it was approaching the 42.70 level, which is the all-time high. Well, it only got to 42.65. So keep an eye. You're trading 42.23 here, quite a ways away from there. But if Coca-Cola does go into the rally mode here, I bet you sellers start stepping out at 42.50.
Going to run short on time. Other stocks are reported, which we won't go into, is STT. They beat STI, COF beat last night. Schlumberger, bring that one up. We'll do a quick analysis on Schlumberger. Stock came in line, $1.01 versus $1.01, but they are rallying the stock here. 72.50 is where it's bid up right now. It's been weak the last few days, but it looks like it's going to show some strength here today. Getting a pop, and you can also say probably it had a double bottom from the last couple days at 70.19 and 70.20. So technician would say maybe that's a bullish signal that double bottom's in place, and maybe the stock can have some life here today.
I was looking at the oils yesterday, and also some of these drillers here, and they were particularly strong. I noticed ExxonMobil and CVX didn't even get near their near Wednesday's lows, and some of the drillers were strong too. So just something to keep an eye on today. Schlumberger here, you hit 73, smacked twice in the pre-market. Let's see what we got on the daily to confirm or deny that level. Well, you had a high at 73.44 on April 16th. So if you can't get through that $73 level. Minor reference point is 73.44, and then it really opens up. And obviously major support way back down at 70.20, but doesn't seem like we're going to get there today.
We are having a little bit of fade in this overall market here, Joel. We're only up
Yeah.
5 points now, so starting to sell off here, which is obviously somewhat concerning that we're not sustaining this rally here that we've had overnight. We found support here multiple times in the 1530s, but I feel like if we keep hanging out in the 1530s, eventually we could end up drifting lower. Not a good sign. We've given back 6 points of this rally, and obviously somewhat concerning here to your bulls.
Yeah, I mean, we talk very short term all the time. I'm kind of getting a long term number in my head here, and that long term number is going to be this 1530 level. We're still 9.5, $10 away from that. Yesterday we got the 1530.75. This was the low on the unemployment day, 1533 and a quarter, and then you had this 1529.50 low. I mean, you are 60-some points off the high. We are holding. This is just a hyena market that will do anything to survive. But under 1530, I would start to really have some concern for this market. So let's keep an eye on that. And that also coincides with yesterday's low.
Yeah, I like that number too, the whole 1528 to 1530 area.
Because look at that. I mean, it just
yeah.
goes. I mean, I think I took my numbers under 1530. I think I took my numbers down to this low here. 1502 and a quarter. I mean, I just do not like the way that looks.
Yeah, and then you get GE, not having great margins here.
Yeah.
You get McDonald's missing. You get IBM missing. You get some big guns missing. I mean, we did have some beats there too, but there's definitely some of your market leaders who are not looking that great right now. So it's something to keep in mind as well. Obviously, support is support until it's broken, though, and we have found support multiple times in the 1530s, so it's hard to fade it until it actually gets through there. That's our show for today, guys. If you want, at 2 o'clock p.m. today, Joel's going to do an analysis and talk about his S&P numbers. He's calling the seminar Technical Analysis Made Easy. If you're interested in that, I will put a sign-up on the site here, so you can sign up for his 2 o'clock Eastern seminar on Technical Analysis Made Easy. That's our show for today. Have a great weekend. Have a great trading day. Back with you guys on Monday.